This is the first video in a series of videos for how to outline for an adapted new musical. So that means that the story already exists. And so I'm going to walk you through my process. There are a lot of books on outlining, and they say that you shouldn't start writing until your outline is complete, but I found a better way to do it. It's a little simpler and a little less intimidating. So before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe in the bottom of this video, and I'll include links to anything that might be important to you along the way.
I use this process when I am getting ready to write a new musical project. This example that I'm using in this video is for a story that already exists. In this case, it was a novella. But you can do this with an original musical, although I will put a series of videos together to walk you through the differences between an adapted musical and an original musical. So look for that video soon too, but let's get into it. Okay, so I know you've been thinking about your project. The first thing I want you to do is open up a new document. And all you have to do is start typing. So I categorize things by what they involve. So for example, as you can see, general notes. I'll just put things in there like what type of plot it might be, or what the focus is for me, so that as I write, I can refer back to it. Symbols, that's something I do. I like to take things that happen and turn them into metaphors. I'll bring those symbols back to play with people's emotions at the end of the story. You can see a section for theme, ideas, settings, my characters, possible songs, because I don't even start on a musical unless a song idea has popped into my head. And then I start an outline, and that outline is basically just some story beats. It doesn't matter what I have and what I'm missing. I just put in there what I currently am working with. So this document then becomes a living document for me, because I will work with this document for days, weeks, months, years, you name it, until I feel like I'm ready to start writing the project. I go through the original story and I list out each story beat. Now, a story beat is only something that happens to a character or that a character makes happen. I've outlined my beats and I've kept them as simple as I possibly could. If I happen to go through the story and there's a paragraph or two of a description of somebody, I may add that to my living document as a character note, or I may list it as a story beat because I think I can turn it into a musical sequence. Moving on to step 3. Let's go over the main elements that pretty much every musical have. We're going to take these elements and put them into our living document. Now, don't worry if you're missing something for one of these items. You just add it to the outline. So if you see here, I took the beats that belong in my opening sequence and put them under the header of opening sequence. Then same thing for the I Want song. This show does have a love aspect to it. Most musicals do, but they don't have to. I called this a longing/love song because sometimes it's more just about being lonely or I wish, kind of like the I Want song. So if I'm missing anything, I would just create a separate line with the elements. So for example, if we were to move forward on this document, I have no idea what that climax is going to be because the one in the original story isn't doable on stage, at least not in my current way of thinking. So I would just list climax. And then that way I know when I come back to the document, I have to develop a climax that ties in with everything else in the story. So now you have an outline that you've added all of the elements of a musical to it, and we can move on to step 4. Step 4 is exciting for me because sometimes in the process of outlining, I get excited and I want to start writing. But all the authors will tell you, don't start writing until your outline's complete or you'll be wasting time. I disagree. I think if I can start writing, I learn more about my story that I'm telling and more about the characters. If you have something that you're just like, oh, I know exactly how I want to put that down on paper, do it. Put it in your outline in the section where it goes. Do it quickly. Don't spend more than 10 or 15 minutes on it, and don't edit it. Just throw it in there. Read through your outline, add anything else that comes to your mind, and you're done with step 4. Step 5, I want you to put your outline away.
I'm serious. Lock it down, slide it under the mattress, put it in a closet, throw it in the back of your car, just put it down.
The reason I do this is because it allows my subconscious to take what I've already put into a structure and start filling in the blanks. And I'll be sitting at Starbucks waiting on coffee, and an idea for that blank will hit my head, and I'll pull out my phone and I'll make a note. So put your outline away, but start a new document or start a note on your phone to keep track of anything that comes to mind over the next period of time while you let it sit. I've set outlines down for years. I've learned to do the outline, make it as solid as I can before I start writing, but eventually your body just says, hey, it's time to start writing. Okay, that's outlining a musical. It's from a story that already exists, and we will move on to part 2 in the next video. Thanks for watching. This is Alan at writeanear.com.